The rain had been falling for days. Cold, relentless, the kind that turns roads into mud and forests into traps. Somewhere deep inside the dark forests of Germania, 3 Roman legions marched forward, nearly 20,000 of the most disciplined soldiers in the world. They carried the banners of Rome. They carried the pride of an empire that had conquered nearly everything in its path. But within a few days, those legions would vanish. Their eagles lost, their commander dead, and the Roman Empire would suffer one of the greatest military disasters in its entire history. This is the story of the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, the day Rome almost lost control of Europe. At the beginning of the 1st century AD, the Roman Empire was at the height of its power. From the deserts of Syria to the cliffs of Britain, Roman legions enforced the authority of Emperor Augustus. Roads stretched across continents, trade flowed through Roman cities, and the empire's armies were widely believed to be unstoppable. But one region remained uncertain: Germania. This vast land stretched beyond the Rhine River, a world of thick forests, scattered tribes, and unpredictable alliances. To Roman leaders, Germania represented both a threat and an opportunity. If the region could be conquered and organized into a Roman province, the empire's frontier would be safer. The Rhine would no longer be a defensive boundary, it would become an internal river of the empire. And so Rome began expanding eastward. Roman governors established forts and roads. Roman law began to replace tribal customs, and tax systems were slowly introduced. To the Roman administration, the conquest of Germania seemed almost complete. But beneath the surface, resentment was growing. Germanic tribes were fiercely independent. They had no centralized kingdoms, no large cities, and no permanent armies. But they understood the forests, the rivers, and the land itself better than any Roman commander. And among them was a man who understood Rome better than anyone. His name was Arminius. Arminius was not just a tribal leader. He had once served in the Roman army. As a young noble from the Cherusci tribe, he had been taken to Rome, educated in Roman military tactics, and even granted Roman citizenship. To the Romans, he was a loyal ally. To the Germanic tribes, he would become something far more dangerous. Arminius knew exactly how Roman legions fought. He knew their strengths, and he knew their weaknesses. By the year 9 AD, the Roman governor of Germania was a man named Publius Quinctilius Varus. Varus was an experienced administrator, but not a brilliant general. His task seemed simple: maintain order and continue integrating Germania into the Roman system. Confident that the region had been pacified, Varus moved through the territory with 3 legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Along with them traveled cavalry units, auxiliary troops, servants, merchants, and camp followers. Altogether, the column stretched for miles. It looked less like an army on campaign and more like a moving city. This assumption that the region was safe would prove catastrophic. Arminius had secretly been organizing a rebellion. Tribe by tribe, he convinced Germanic leaders that Rome's presence would eventually destroy their independence, and when the time came, they would strike. But the rebellion needed one more thing: a trap. Arminius approached Varus with urgent news. He claimed that a local tribe had begun to revolt and that the Roman army needed to march quickly through the forests to suppress the uprising. Varus trusted him completely. After all, Arminius was a Roman citizen, a decorated officer, and a valuable guide. So the Roman army changed its route. Instead of marching along open roads, the legions moved into the dense forests and hills of northern Germania. It was early autumn. Rain poured down. The narrow paths turned into thick mud. The long Roman columns stretched out further and further, broken into smaller groups struggling through trees and swamps. Roman legions were designed to fight on open ground, in tight formation, with shields locked and discipline holding the line. But here in the forest, that formation was impossible, and Arminius knew it. As the Roman army moved deeper into the wilderness, Arminius slipped away from the column. He rode ahead into the forest, and there, waiting among the trees, were thousands of Germanic warriors. The trap was ready. The attack began suddenly. From the trees came the sound of war cries. Spears and javelins rained down on the scattered Roman soldiers. Warriors rushed out of the forest, striking isolated groups before disappearing back into the trees. Roman officers tried desperately to restore order, but the terrain made it impossible. The soldiers were exhausted from marching. The roads were mud, the baggage wagons blocked movement, and the enemy was everywhere. The battle did not last a few hours. It lasted for several days. Day after day, the Roman army struggled forward through the forest, constantly harassed by guerrilla attacks. Every attempt to form defensive lines was disrupted by the terrain. Every movement exposed new groups of soldiers to attack. Roman armor grew heavy with rain and mud. Supplies ran low. Morale began to collapse. By the third day, the surviving Romans reached a narrow ridge near what is believed to be modern Kalkriese. Here, the Germanic tribes had prepared their final ambush. They had built a long earthen wall along the edge of the forest. Behind it, thousands of warriors waited. When the Romans approached, the Germans surged forward. The exhausted Roman soldiers had no room to maneuver, no safe formation, no escape. The slaughter was devastating. Roman units collapsed one by one. Officers were killed trying to rally their troops. The once proud legions disintegrated into desperate pockets of resistance. Realizing the disaster was complete, Varus made a final decision. Rather than be captured, he fell on his sword. Many of his officers followed. By the end of the battle, nearly the entire Roman army had been destroyed. Some soldiers were captured and sacrificed in tribal rituals. Others were enslaved. The sacred legionary eagles, symbols of Roman honor, were taken by the Germanic tribes. 3 entire Roman legions had vanished. The news that reached Rome was almost unbelievable. An entire army had been annihilated. Emperor Augustus was devastated. According to Roman historians, he reportedly walked through the palace crying out, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions." The disaster shook the empire. For decades, Rome had expanded almost without interruption. But the defeat in the Teutoburg Forest revealed something terrifying. Rome was not invincible. In the years that followed, Rome launched several campaigns to punish the Germanic tribes and recover the lost legionary standards. Under the general Germanicus, Roman armies marched back into Germania and won several victories. Some of the captured eagles were eventually recovered, but the damage had already been done. The Roman Empire abandoned its plans to permanently conquer Germania east of the Rhine. Instead, the Rhine River became the empire's permanent frontier, a boundary that would last for centuries. On one side lay the Roman world, cities, roads, and imperial order. On the other remained the independent Germanic tribes, and those tribes would play a massive role in the future of Europe. Centuries later, Germanic peoples would migrate into Roman territory, forming the kingdoms that eventually replaced the Western Roman Empire. In many ways, the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest changed the course of European history. Had Rome successfully conquered Germania, the cultural and political map of Europe might look very different today. Languages, borders, and civilizations might have evolved along completely different lines, all because of a trap set in a forest. A forest where discipline met terrain, where an empire met resistance, and where 3 Roman legions marched in, but never marched out. If you enjoy stories like this, moments where history turned in unexpected ways, consider subscribing for more forgotten chapters of the past. Because sometimes the fate of entire civilizations can be decided in places as quiet as a forest.